Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Real Beef. I'm Don Keith. Got an interesting show for you guys today because I have with me Seany Boy from the Uncensored Patriots. Seany Boy runs a space on X, has been quite popular. He's a father, a hardworking grafter, and a proud ex-serviceman, and an unwavering patriot. So with that, I'm going to bring him up to the stage.
Good night, you all right?
Seany Boy, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate.
How are you?
I can see myself now. I thought I was going to download the app because I thought the app would be a bit more better, but I don't know. I just downloaded it, but I mean, if it's still all right like this, then it's cool.
Yeah, I've had all kind of technical difficulties today myself trying to get this thing going. I don't know what's wrong with the app I use is really acting squirrely today. They sent out a notice to everyone, said they were having problems. So I was lucky to get this thing up and running. So I'm glad I did. You been doing okay?
Yeah, I've been good, mate. I've been good. Just like I say, just been working. Just family time when I get home with my kids and that, and the missus, and yeah, just plugging away, mate. Plugging away, running the spaces, every day at work. So that's
How's that going? I really like I was on one of your spaces. I really enjoyed it. It's been doing quite well. I hear a lot of folks talking about it. How do you like it? And tell me a little bit about what's going on with your spaces lately.
yeah. So basically, I mean, I didn't. I started the Uncensored Patriots. I'd say about 5 months ago, right? I mean, I didn't even intend to start up like the Uncensored Patriots as it is now. It sort of like just happened because I was up the crane and I was stuck working up the crane. I was bored one day, and when I found out about Elon Musk like buying Twitter and changing it to X and giving free speech to everyone and that, I was like, I'll have some of that. Do you know what I mean? I love a bit of that.
Yeah. Thursday.
Yeah, so I went on there, and I found the spaces and that, and I went into some spaces. I think I went into my first space and that, and then I sort of like I was getting used to it all and that, and I pressed the microphone. They come round to me eventually, and then I shit myself, and I was like, oh, right. Go to the next person, mate. Go to the next person.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what? I thought, I'll start on my own space, and so I started my own space, and because I was a bit more in control. I was in control of the room, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could like, you know what I mean, sort of like, go with the flow and that a little bit more. I've got used to.
Probably helps you get over those nerves you had initially as well.
Yeah, I mean, mate, I've never done nothing like this before. I've never done nothing with me and you. I've never done nothing like this in my life, mate. So just, you know what I mean? So just bear with me.
Well, this is your this is your first live or your first stream, so you get out of the way now.
This is all new.
It'll be like second nature next time.
Yeah, I feel like back when I first went into my first space and I shit myself and I was like, oh, right, go to the next person. I'll come back to them.
No, I hear you. Yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking if you've never been on camera or anything like that. So I totally understand. Where are you at in the UK? Where are you located exactly?
I live in Watford, mate.
Watford. Now, where is that geographically? And let's just say like
that's in Hertfordshire, mate. That's in Hertfordshire, yeah.
Okay. So like, how far are you? How far would that be from like London?
Oh, mate, like probably about 20 minutes on the train.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess you kind of get to see firsthand all the BS that's going on in London and the surrounding areas. Then,
yeah, like I say, I work in and out around the surrounding areas and that. So if I mean, I'll be on the site. Sometimes I'm lucky. Sometimes, I mean, like the last 3 sites I've had on my doorstep. So I've been quite lucky on the cranes.
Yeah, the area that you live in now, is that the area you grew up in?
No, it's not. No,
Okay.
So I was born in Croydon, yeah? I was born in Croydon in a hospital called Mayday Hospital. I grew up in Fulton Heath till I was about 6 years old, and then because it was getting a bit out of hand even back then, do you know what I mean? Back in the early 90s, do you know what I mean? Yeah, my parents, like my mum, like it was loads of stabbings and that. Do you know what I mean? Around Fulton Heath and that.
So how has life changed for you since you were a little kid growing up? You said there was some violence back then compared to now, what you're seeing now in the UK.
Well, so basically, like, yeah. So when I was growing up, when I grew up in Fulton Heath, and that's I was about 6. Obviously, it's not really much, but obviously, I knew my mum moved us out of there because obviously, do you know what I mean? There was a lot of bad going around in where I used to live.
Hmm.
And obviously, do you know what I mean? She just wanted a better life, I think, just essentially for her family and for her kids, like us, like and that. So that's why she moved us out of there. She moved us down to a seaside town called Bognor Regis.
Hmm.
So we moved down there, and I grew up for the rest till I was about 20, down in Bognor Regis, and then that's when I enrolled in the army. And I
Yeah,
in the
I
army
knew
for
you.
six
You had
years.
told me before that you were in the service. Why did you mentioned your mom wanted a better life for you? Is that kind of why you got into the British Army to make a better life for
Not
yourself as
partic-
well?
no, not particularly, mate, because she never wanted me to go in the army. Because I actually wanted to go in when I was 16, but she said I'm not. She said you're not doing it. But
Mm.
then I got to about 20 and I done it anyway.
Can you go into the army legally at 16 when in the
Yeah,
UK?
yeah, you can join at 16.
Wow, didn't know that's 18 here.
Yeah, I think it's
18.
different. Yeah, it's 16 there, mate. Yeah, but
Wow.
so I went into the Royal Artillery. That was my choice of cap badge. So I went into the Royal Artillery and I joined 19 Regiment, Highland Gunners.
What was your role
No, no,
exactly?
the Scottish Gunners. Yeah.
Okay, so you were a Scottish gunner. What did you? I mean, how was that? What did you learn while you were in the army?
So I basically went into the MT department, the military transport department. They put, do you know what I mean? And then, yeah, so I went into the military transport department. I was servicing, do you know what I mean? Learned how to service military vehicles, military fleet vehicles, do you know what I mean? They taught me how to, they gave me my C license, do you know what I mean? So I could
Mhm.
drive lorry category, C categories, so I could drive lorries and stuff.
Mhm.
I was a drops driver. So I was, do you know what I mean? That's a dismountable rack offload pickup system. So basically, you carry all the HE shells on the back of the flat rack,
Okay,
load it up onto your wagon and that, and then off you go, and then you
I
go
see.
drop and deliver them off to the gun line.
Okay,
Um,
is that what
yeah,
you do now since you got out?
what's that?
You didn't transition
No.
any of those skills into the.
I did. I mean, I tried out a few things. I've tried so many jobs, mate. I've zigzagged all over the gaff. I've done. Do you
Uh-huh.
know what I mean, I've done skip lorry driving. Bloody hell, I've bloody hell, I've even done. I've been delivered like frozen chilled foods and that, like in vans
Mhm.
and stuff. Yeah, I've done loads of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But essentially, um, yeah, essentially, I ended up finding the crane game,
Mhm.
because my one of my pals told me about it, and he said that I'd love it, and that do you know what I mean? It's a good money earner,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, but the thing is that um, it was, do you know what I mean? At the time, it was quite pricey. It was about 3 grand to do the
Mhm.
2 week course.
Oh
And
wow.
obviously, I didn't have that money at the time. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I was just, my missus was pregnant with my son, and do you know what I mean? And it's like,
Mhm.
you know, I needed a little bit of help. So the Royal British Legion helped me out with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took a while. I didn't think they'd help me, but they did. And they
Mhm.
helped me out.
Yeah. So
They, pa-
when you got out of the military, how was it? Did you notice any changes? Um, Basically in society after you got out of the military.
how do you mean, mate?
Well, like, was it any uptick in
Did I,
violence or
do you mean, did I find it hard to integrate into civil life?
well that? And did you notice any changes for instance, with immigration or how general society had changed in the 6 years you had been in the military?
Uh, Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did. I know. I'm not. It's. I mean, at the end of the day, I did. It just got worse and worse as the years went on, mate. Do you know what I mean? You
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
and you know, like I say, I could see that the country was going into decline anyway. For quite like
Hmm.
even when I was still in the army. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it just from bad to worse.
Hmm.
You know.
you talked a little bit about starting the Uncensored Patriots, that you thought could kind of just do your own thing. What was your like inner inspiration to want to do that, to start the Uncensored Patriots?
Well, I, do you know what? I believe it or not, socially, I find it hard to interact with people.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So, um, so when I went into a space, when I started my space and I started speaking to people online,
Hmm.
obviously I had my political views, right?
Right.
And obviously I went on to, and it's quite hard to find people in everyday life that's say that's on the same political mindset as you are,
Right.
right? Because obviously all the wokeness and all that is seeped into society, and
Right.
like
Right.
all the woke and the nonsensical stuff and all the LGBTQ and do you know what I mean? All the stuff that you just, do you know what I mean? It's just not. I don't. Me and myself, I don't find that normal.
Yeah, the
You know what
trans
I mean?
stuff as well. Has like the trans stuff sort of calmed down since that court ruling there in the United Kingdom that actually defined what a biological woman is? Has although the trans nonsense sort of calmed any or slowed, or is it still progressing, would you say?
No, I would say it's still because well, I would say it's still progressing. I mean, I don't think they're tackling it hard enough. To be fair, mate,
Hmm.
I don't think they're tackling it hard enough. I think they need to. I do think they need to look a bit more deeper. And well, they don't even have to look deeper. It's just a case of you know, there's so many the amount of people that are setting the legislations out. They're all
Hmm.
like 90% of them. They're all woke anyway.
Hmm.
It's like it's heavily infiltrated into the system, and it's just like, how do you tackle? How can you even tackle that? Like, and unless you completely reform, Parliament. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because there's so many MPs like
Right.
the Labour Party is especially. I cannot stand Keir Starmer. Honestly, mate,
Yeah.
I
Who
absolutely
can, actually? I don't think his own party likes him anymore.
mate. Honestly, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I've always said it, yeah, but it's like there's so many people that have said the same as me. We literally need like a UK version of Trump, mate,
Yeah. Yeah.
to sort our country out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see anyone in that wants to be in politics. The only person I know that's like exactly like Trump is Tommy
Yeah.
Robinson.
Oh, mate, he's
I call him. My nickname for him is the working class Donald Trump of Great Britain,
mate. Yeah,
because
honestly,
he is exactly like Donald Trump, with his drive, the fight in him, everything that's happened to him, everything the media does to him, the way the authorities go after him, the way the courts go after him. It's almost exactly to a T. I mean, they try to have the guy killed in prison. They tried to have Donald Trump killed. So yeah, it's very similar, and I've been trying to talk him into it. I don't think he wants to get into politics right now, but
no.
yeah,
I think, Joe, what I think he's good at what he does, mate. I think like
it's fantastic.
if it's not broken, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? If it's not broken, don't try and fix it.
Yeah.
And he does well at what he does, mate. Do you know what I mean?
No, has a powerful voice.
He has. He has.
Anyone that's done more for spreading the news about what's going on with immigration, what's going on with the grooming gangs, the Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, and all the young girls who've been abused. I don't think there's anyone who's done more than Tommy. There's people out there who've done a lot. Don't get me wrong; he's not the only one, but I would say he's top. He's top of the list
Oh,
as far
mate.
as those not to mention everything he sacrificed in order. But most of the people who have spoken out they haven't really put their freedom on in their safety on the line to do so. You know what I mean? A lot of people go out there and they'll risk a lot, but when it comes to their own safety and their freedom, that's kind of a bridge too far. But not for Tommy. He's probably the bravest person I've ever met, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Um, yeah, he's done so much. Now, do you know Tommy personally? I don't think I've ever talked to you about this.
No, I don't know him personally, mate. No, literally,
Okay.
like I say, I know I've got that. I know I've got a profile photo with him on my ex, but that's only because it was just a brief photo opportunity before you went out on stage. Like, I was fortunate enough because I went to the Trafalgar Square United Kingdom rally, and I was fortunate enough to be like I mean, like the geezer let me in. And he said, "Oh, you ex-forces," and I was like, "Yeah." And I got chatting to the geezer. He was very nice bloke. And
the whole group has a lot of respect for the forces, man, for the military.
Yeah. And he just said to me, "Yeah, go on, go back there, bruv." And I was like, "All right, thanks, mate." And I just I bowled through the back bit, and I got chatting to a couple of them, and then I had a quick photo opportunity. Like, he had a quick snap with me, and that was it. I didn't really get to speak a word to him because he was so busy. He's 1,000 mile an hour all the time, isn't he?
All the time, yeah.
And he had to just shoot up on stage and do his thing,
Mm-hmm.
So,
why do you think they try so hard? Why do you think they try so hard to suppress not only Tommy but others and the free speech in the UK right now? What's going on there? What do you think that's all about?
I think it's because they don't. I think it's all about control. It comes down to control, mate. They want to control. They want to control the masses. They don't like the fact that the right are uniting together and we're all actually waking up to all the lawfare, to the two-tier judiciary. Do you know what I mean? And they don't like the fact that we're all coming together and amplifying our presence and amplifying our voices as well, and also in the process, all rallying. Like, the numbers are getting higher and higher at every rally that Tommy does.
Yeah,
and they don't like that. They don't like that. They want to keep us segregated. They want to. It's divide and conquer, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the main play that they've done for years. They need to keep people divided, right? They want religions to rub up against each other, to cause friction, to then splinter them off, and so they can micromanage smaller groups, so it's easier for them to control the masses, mate. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and even with we'll talk a little. One of the reasons I asked you on, because I thought it was people needed to hear it, was the issue about your father being was he twice elected reform counselor, and was asked basically to cut off any interactions with you because of you are so outspoken on social media, which so shocked me because reform is supposed to be for the people. They're supposed to be a more conservative leaning party in Great Britain, but now you've got them actually coming to a reform council. Tell me a little bit about what happened with your father.
So basically, me and my dad, we couldn't be any more polar opposites if we tried. The only one thing me and my old man have got in common is that we love talking politics with each other. We always have done, right? My dad's very diplomatic in the way he carries himself. I'm quite the opposite. I'm very outspoken. I'm very common, as you can.
You don't say.
Right. But he's very well versed in how he puts himself across to people. He always has been, and I've been begging him to get into politics for ages because he's always been so clued up on it all. And I eventually persuaded him, and I said, "Dad, you really got to do it." And when I established. Do you know what I mean, a foundation with the Uncensored Patriots, and the audience grew from like 4 people to like 100 that just come in daily. That's sort of like when I said to my dad, "Oh, Dad, do you fancy coming, like making an X account and coming on because you'd love it on here?" And he was like, "Yeah, all right, then, son. Yeah, I'll have a little go. I'll have a little look." Do you know what I mean? And he come in, so he come on, and like I say, you've been on with me twice, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's very respectful. There's very, great
conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. There's a lot of intelligent people, far more intelligent than me, mate. I mean, do you know what I mean? I'm not all that, mate. I'm just, do you know what I mean? But
I think you're pretty good, man. I think you're shortchanging yourself.
I just like, do you know what I mean? I just like helping people and bringing people together, and I just love I love the chat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's all I like doing. That's all I just like talking to people because, like, when I said at the beginning of this interview, like I say, believe it or not, like I said, didn't I? I find it hard to, you know what I mean, socialise with people. So it's sort of like become a sort of like how'd you say it? Like a
mechanism for you to get out there and
for me to
Yeah.
try and sort of like make myself a bit stronger in that area, because
Yeah.
I'm talking to more people on a daily basis online, and
Oh.
it's like and I've come more out my shell, and I'm like. I've become familiar with so many regular listeners that come in and come up and speak, and that because it's for everyone, literally. Since the Patriots is for everyone, whether you're left, middle, right. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't care, like, who you are. You could be as controversial as you wanted to be.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
definitely a good forum. I was, like I said, I was on there. I really enjoyed it. You had some really great speakers, and you had David Atherton on there.
lovely bloke. Love David.
Yeah, I love David. He's amazing.
Got a lot of time for him. He's a lovely bloke.
He just lost his father too, so
He
God
did.
bless him.
He did, mate. Yeah.
I hate that. But yeah, you had some really good conversations there. So I think you're doing well. And you've had really, I think you've grown pretty fast given the time that you've been on. So congratulations there. It's definitely an interesting forum.
Thanks.
But I'm sorry, I digressed a little bit. Tell us what happened with your dad and reform.
Yeah, so basically, so obviously all the regular listeners, they knew my dad because he come on the space before he became a reform counsellor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were, do you know what I mean? They were familiar with my dad. He's been on a few times and that. And then we eventually pushed my dad, and I said, yeah, go on, Dad, stand up for the May elections. And he did. And he got double elected, right? For and basically
Tell me what that means, double elected. So when I read that, I thought it meant he'd just been elected twice. So
yeah, so he got elected for town, and he got elected for town, and the other one was for county.
Okay, so he serves both positions at the same time. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know the direct ins and outs of how his job works.
Right.
But like I more or less just know like the basics of it, if you know what I mean.
But you could have a person do each of those. He's doing them both, so he's doubling up, kind of, right?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's more or less like they're two different positions, Don. I mean, I haven't looked into it too much, but all that I know is that, do you know what I mean? I've begged my dad to do it for years, and he done it. He got double elected, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Do you know what I mean? I love and support my old man. You know what I mean?
Well, good for him.
Yeah, and he done that, and basically, when he done that, he was over the moon. He went out, he came on, and everyone was congratulating him and that, and then after a while, one day, a few weeks back, I gave him a call and I said, "You all right, Dad?" And he was like, "No, not really." And I was like, "Oh, what's the matter?" And he was like, "Oh, I had a call today from Reform HQ." And I was like, "Right." And he was like, "Yeah, basically they've turned around to me and they said that they don't want me to come on your platform anymore and discuss politics or anything like that and all this stuff." And I said,
"Unreal."
Yeah, and I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Why is that then?" And he was like, "I don't know." He turned around and he said, apparently he said they turned around, they've got like some sort of form of scrutiny department, and all this stuff, and they basically turned around and said that they believe that apparently they think that there was 6 people that had been in the space that they deemed as a far right extremist, and I was like, well, that's absolute bollocks. Because I'm not being funny, but
was I one of those?
I've never seen no one come into my space and act like that. It's respectful. Don, you've been on, mate. You've been on twice. Have you ever seen how well do we conduct the space? We don't,
very well, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't take no bullshit. Don't take no bullshit. I always say, we manage it in a professional manner, and if anyone comes on and goes to personally attack someone else, I'll just kick him. I'll be like, "See you later, mate."
But it's not about that. You know exactly what it's about. It's about your socio. You're mentioning Tommy Robinson. That's what the whole thing is.
Oh, 1,000,000%, mate. But he turned around. He turned around to me. My dad turned around to me, and he said, "Do you know what I mean? The fact that, do you know what I mean? Unfortunately, do you know what I mean? They mentioned Tommy Robinson, and I was like, oh, here we go. That's because I've got a profile photo of me and him. Like,
why are they so afraid? Why are they so afraid of him?
It's pathetic. They are. They are.
Unbelievable.
But
Just goes to show you how much power he is and how powerful his voice is.
it is, mate.
Honestly.
It is, 1,000,000%. And you know what I don't understand? It's the fact that I'm not being funny, but um, I can understand to a certain degree, right, where Reform are so desperate to get into power, right?
Yeah.
So desperate to get into power, and I understand that, right? And I was, I mean, I was so for Reform. And then when they pulled this shit with like my old man, I was like, what you doing? Do you know what I mean? I was like, what, sir? I can't talk politics. I mean, like, I'm not being funny. It's rubbish, mate. And then I basically turned around and I was like, okay, I was all for Reform. And then that happened, and then I understand they're desperate to get into power. So to a certain degree, I get where they're coming from in a sense where they can't afford to be smeared in any way. Like, you know what I mean? They don't want to have like a big media smear on them. Like, do you know what I mean? So I do look at it from another perspective. I do get that, but then. What about the motto? What I thought the Reform's motto was community, family. Do you know what I mean? All that.
It's all a facade, man. They just want power. Whatever they can do to retain power. If they have to cater to Islam, if they have to cater to immigration, because you know, unfortunately for you guys, that's part of the voting block now. These politicians have to appeal to, and that's why they get away with so much. Is because they don't want to be labeled as racist. It doesn't matter if you're Labor, Conservative, Reform. You gotta cater to and coddle the Muslim community because it's a huge part of your voting block now. They could determine which way an election goes. So the way Nigel Farage and Reform sees it is that they have to do the same, that to follow suit, just like conservatives, just like Labor. So they ostracize people like Tommy Robinson. They don't want anything to do with them. And people like you now, because you mentioned Tommy on your platform, they want to break up the relationship between you and your father and the joy that you and your father have just discussing politics. They want to come in the middle of that. All because they want that power, man. They want to get those votes. So Reform's really lost its way, man. I don't know how they're going to come back. I know they've had a surge recently, but it seems to me like they're starting to dip again, just from what I'm seeing online. I don't know. You could probably answer that question better than I can. What do you think?
Like put it this way, me and my dad, although me and my dad don't agree on everything political, right? Do you know what I mean? We do still have that. We still have that love for talking to each other regarding politics across the whole world. Do you know what I mean? And let's have it right. They're never going to come between me and my old man at all. Do you know what I mean? I talk to my old man on the phone. Do you know what I mean? They're going to do. You can't call your dad. You can't call your son and speak to your son. They just don't want. They obviously in the first instance they just didn't want to see it. You know what I mean? On a public platform.
Yeah, but it might be nice to have your dad as a counselor come into your space and talk to people too. But now,
well, I've got news for you, Don. I've got news for you, Don, because today my dad come on my space. My dad come on my space. There was a reprieve. How would you say the word? He said there was a reprieval. He said he spoke to one of his bosses. And he basically turned around and he said, "Look, mate, I still think this is absolutely ridiculous. This is not just anybody's space or anything like that. This is my son. My son runs this. Do you know what I mean? And it's always respectful. There's no anything. There's no bad stuff. There's untoward on it.
There's no racism or anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's nothing malicious about what I do. Do you know what I mean? I basically, all I do is host a platform where people come in from all different walks of life, have a respectful debate about this, that and the other. People don't agree on everything. I mean, what a boring world would that be if everyone...
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It would be great if you're Labor.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I just can't understand. I can't make arse or end of it, mate. But it's a win. It's a win anyway, because you know he basically turned around and gave my dad the approval and said, you know, if any flat comes, then do you know what I mean, let me deal with it. It doesn't make no sense to me. I don't see no problem with it. And if any flat comes, I'll deal with it myself with them. So. My dad basically has been sort of like vindicated in a way where he shouldn't really. He should be standard. He should be allowed to talk to me anyway. They shouldn't have even done that. But He can talk to me on there now. He's come on. He's all cushy. He's talking to us again, and it's good. So that's a win, mate.
What do you think? What do you think about Nigel Farage?
I just think he's a good campaigner, mate. I don't think he's PM material.
Yeah, you don't think he has the leadership skills, leadership qualities, I should say?
Nah, mate. Nah, I don't. I'm not going to sit here and quote him off on that. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I'm not. But that's just my personal opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. He's a very good campaigner. He's very good at running up a campaign. But I don't think that he's PM material, mate. Because I'm not being funny, but let's have it right. When I went to one of Tommy's rallies, Tommy was behind him. Tommy was telling his audience, telling the whole crowd, everyone needs to get behind reform. Everyone needs to get behind reform. Everyone needs to back reform. I remember when Tommy was saying that at one of his rallies, mate. And so, if anything, Tommy was helping Nigel. And
no, he liked it for sure.
And then, like, do you know what I mean? There's no, and then he just makes them remarks on TV, and it's like, no need for it, mate. Why are you trying to say, I'm not associating myself with, Tommy Robinson, it's like as if he's like the worst thing, going.
Yeah, he always makes it a point. Even when he's not asked, he talks about it.
You can't, mate. You can't. There's nothing more admirable than a man standing up for his country for over the last decade, right? Going out and exposing all these grooming gangs and basically trying to help protect our kids, mate. There's nothing more admirable than that, and I've got the utmost respect for that geezer for doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that always gets me too is, Nigel always says, like James McMurdoch, who's, again, I guess he's been suspended from reform. He's independent right now while there's an inquiry going on. I guess he was convicted for assaulting his girlfriend, but Nigel said he deserves Christian forgiveness. His financier, what was the guy's name? Oh gosh, I can't remember. George Cottrell, another guy who was convicted of some financial crimes. He deserved Christian forgiveness, but when it comes to Tommy, he just always throws him under the bus. Tommy doesn't deserve Christian forgiveness, so he really has a double standard when it comes to Tommy Robinson. Nigel Farage does. I really don't. It's almost like a sickness. I don't know. I don't know why, and I kind of feel like there's a jealousy there because Tommy does have such a huge following. Nigel feels like he has to distance himself from him because he doesn't have that same, I don't know, rapport with the people, I guess. It's just really weird to me the way Nigel is.
I think it's just a difference thing. I think it's just like literally a difference between classes. Tommy's a working class lad from Luton, right?
That's right.
And you know what I mean? Nigel Farage, he's not working class. He's not.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the working class man, mate.
Yeah. It's so different there when it comes to the class system too. I wasn't used to it until I started frequenting the UK. It's really is the classes really are considered in the UK. Like they're not in the United States. We don't look at class the way you guys do. It's so strange to me. We do have what would be called an upper, lower, or middle class, but really that's when we talk about those things, we're just talking about economically. We don't not associate with somebody because they're working class or middle class or upper class, and we all kind of, I don't know, it's just strange to me. But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. I don't understand why Nigel is like that. It's a very uppity of him. He does have this uppity nature about him to me. Which I totally don't understand. But he's going to have to compete with people like who are starting their own movements and parties now, like Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib. Those are great guys. I think they have a lot of respect for a lot of people.
I'll tell you who another great guy is that I had on the other day. Nick Tenconi.
Nick's great. Nick's a great guy.
He is a lovely bloke, mate. Nick Tenconi. Yeah. He come on as a guest speaker the other day. Had him on. Yeah, mate, the man's brilliant. And he even said, because all my guest speaker spaces, they're always recorded. And when I had Nick on, I asked him the question. I put the question to him. I was like, Nick, if, like, just hypothetically speaking, if Tommy ever, do you know what I mean, wanted to go political, and do you know what I mean, would you would you stand side by side with him, basically, essentially? And he was like, and he said, yeah. I said, oh, 1,000,000%. It's like the offer's there, like, do you know what I mean? You know,
ask him the same question when I interviewed him.
Come stand shoulder to shoulder with me, I will gladly stand shoulder to shoulder with Tommy Robinson. And I was like, mate,
yeah, he's not scared to voice his support for Tommy at all.
That's what I love about him, mate. He don't, do you know what I mean? He don't try and, you know, cower down because, you know, there's, do you know what I mean? He's too worried about, you know, other people, like other parties and stuff like that. He just speaks his mind. He just rolls off the tongue. And like, that's what I love about him.
Do you think UKIP has the potential to get someone in Parliament to have an MP elected?
It depends. They say the purple wave's coming, and I do think UKIP's getting some traction. I do, because I think with all the stuff that's been happening with reform at the minute, you know, especially, do you know what I mean? James Murdoch. Is it James Murdoch? James Murdoch. He's removed the witch from himself.
That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was just saying. Yeah. That's out at the moment. You know,
but he deserves Christian forgiveness, though.
Oh, mate, it's pathetic.
That's what Nigel said.
Pathetic. You know what I mean?
It's hilarious. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I like Nick. I like all those guys. And I've spoken with all of them. I've spoken, you know, I've interviewed Ben. I've interviewed Nick. I've spoken online with Rupert. I think they're all solid picks, man. Really strong patriots who aren't afraid to voice their opinion.
Yeah.
And Rupert and Ben have now really in the last couple of months have really started voicing their opinion. So I like to see that as well.
Do you know what I don't understand though? When Rupert stands up in Parliament, right? Like very previous times when they've had parliamentary sittings and stuff, and they've all sat down and all that, and he stood up and he's spoken a few times. The one thing I don't understand is that, I mean, the way that man, the language that man puts forward in the House of Commons, I love it. I love the way he puts his point across, and he calls it out for exactly how it is. So, for instance, give you an example, when he says, you know, the Pakistani grooming rape gangs, and we thought exactly how you should be saying it, because that's because they are the Pakistani grooming gangs, right?
Right.
But then you got people on the other side of the House in Labour, like sitting there moaning, going, oh, that's not, you know, we don't, that's, you know, the language, can't tone the language down a little bit there. What was wrong with his language? Sorry, but what was wrong with his language?
Well, it offends their voting bloc. That's why they have to do that.
Yeah, what was wrong with his language, mate? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, their electorate is not going to like it unless they moan and groan when they speak about those things.
Yeah, he's calling it for out what it is. He's only saying what it is, and it is, they're the Pakistani grooming gangs. Yeah. Sorry, it's not the Chinese grooming gangs, is it?
Yeah. Well, sometimes the truth is offensive, and the Labour doesn't like that.
Yeah, he's just being factual. It's how you that's how you should talk in Parliament. But then you've obviously got, you know, they don't like it, do they? They're like, oh, that's bad language. How's that bad language, mate? How'd you work that out?
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, it's a mess, man. I tell you, I always think about poor, when I talk about the military with someone from the UK, I always think about poor Peter Lynch, man. Military's
mate. Yeah, that's mate. That was disgusting.
I just saw an article. What did they say? I was really disgusted by this article I saw, and it was a while back, but it was they said this is how they framed it.
Boom.
Well, you've got people like the BBC who says rioter Peter Lynch found hanging in cell. You got the Independent says grandfather jailed over race riot at Rotherham, and then you got the Guardian who leads with, this was their headline: disgraceful example of a grandfather jailed for a role in Rotherham riot. And they're talking about Peter Lynch, when all the guy did was he yelled at a couple of cops and held up some signs. And they call him a rioter, and then they call him a disgraceful guy who served in the military. A disgraceful example of a grandfather. How disgusting is the Guardian for that?
Yeah, mate, they're all disgusting. They're all disgusting. All these papers, mate. They're all they're doing. They're out to ruin people's lives and make money. That's all they want to do, mate. And I just think it's sickening, mate. But at the end of the day, you know, thank God people are starting to bin it off now, and they don't want to read the papers anymore. They don't want to buy into their crap. Do you know what I mean? I think that I just think they're all out to be evil towards other people. Like, do you know what I mean? That wreck people's lives, and like for what? What? Just because you want to sell a story, like.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
How many more Peter Lynch's and Lucy Connollys have to go to jail before you see even more people in the streets protesting? You think? Where you see a whole nation protesting?
That's what I'm saying, mate. One was too many.
No.
Do you know what I mean? One was too many, mate.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And they didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit that he committed suicide, mate.
Mm-hmm.
What did Keir Starmer do? Did he show any remorse? Did he feel bad? No. He don't give a shit.
Even mentioning it, do you?
He didn't give a shit, mate. Mate, it pissed me off, mate, when he went up and he bared those reefs for the Southport girls, mate. And I just thought, mate, so you're the most fakest man I've ever seen, like in number 10. Do you know what I mean? And
they blamed the far right for all the riots. And they called them race riots. They weren't even race riots. There were a couple of instances of locals rioting because they were pissed off. It had nothing to do with race. It had to do with the fact they were sick of all the immigration. Exactly. And 3 young girls had been killed because the press didn't let anyone know in a decent amount of time. So obviously the temperaments boiled over and people got angry, but to say there were race riots is incorrect. That was misleading, very misleading.
Oh mate, it was unbelievable. And I just thought to myself when he done that, I just thought, how can you like? And then there was a man who was trying to talk to him, and he was literally just ignoring him. Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't answer no questions. He just bowled in like a mute, holding his wreath, right? Placed it down as most falsest. It was the most fakest thing I've ever seen, mate.
A lot of people say that's the moment when he pretty much.
It was only there for the PR.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm holding a wreath, and I'm just here to show that I care. No, you don't give a shit, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It was kind of obvious too, right? He was just going through the motions because he had to.
Right, mate. Honestly, the sooner he's out, Don, then the better for the country, mate. And the sooner the Labour Party gets fucked off, the better as well. Sorry, by the way. Edit that bit out.
I'm not going to edit it out. It's going to go on X. Nobody cares. Nobody cares on X.
No, sorry.
Where are you going to go from here? You've got the X, you've got your Spaces kind of up and running, going pretty good. What do you see yourself doing? You think you might get into politics one day? Or you happy on X? What are you going to do?
No, do you know what, mate? I'm not, I don't think I'm that. That's my dad's area. I would love to see my dad go all the way and make it as an MP in Parliament, because he's a working class man. He's been a bus driver all his life. Do you know what I mean?
I think we need more people like that in government, in your country and mine. I think we need police officers. I think we need firemen, teachers, doctors. I think we just need more everyday people in our government, making, especially when it comes to legislation. So I think these lifetime politicians, people have done nothing but politics their whole life. They really have no skin in the game. And I even think that they can relate to the people that they represent, their constituents. So to me, I think we need more lay people in governments, really, in Western countries. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, can you repeat that question, please? I'm sorry, I'm frazzled, mate. Already.
I said, I think we need more just common lay people, working class folks, doctors, firemen, policemen, teachers, truck drivers, construction workers. I think we need more people like that to serve in our legislatures in your country and in mine and all Western countries. I think because the lifetime politicians, they don't relate to the common man. They just don't. So.
1,000,000%. No, I agree with that 1,000,000%. I think there should be more working class people across the board, grassroots, not people that have been fed with a silver spoon all their life and that have come from money. No, I don't believe that at all. There's too many people, there's too many multi-millionaires as MPs, and it's like, do you really? I mean, do you really give a shit? Your bank balance, you're a multi-millionaire. Do you really give a shit about the working class people? I don't think you do, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think they do.
Like you got Jeremy Corbyn that's just formed this new, like what they call it, the Jezbollah party with that Zara Sultana. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, wow. Do you know what I mean? It's literally mind baffling, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's a mad world at the minute, and I just think we need to. I just want to see a big sense of normality get instilled back into politics. I don't think that half the MPs in the House of Parliament are fit for purpose, mate. I think all they give a shit about is lining their own pockets. Do you know what I think? Do you know what I honestly feel? I feel like when MPs get themselves voted in, they do all the work. They go, "We're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. Yep, I'm going to work. I'm going to give you the world. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you." And then they get it. And then as soon as they get elected, you go, "All right, yeah." They sell it to the public. They sell it to the working class. And as soon as we all vote them in, then we get them in, they turn around and go, "Yeah, fuck off. You're bumped now. I don't give a shit about you. See you later." Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorting myself out now. I've got all the expenses paid. I've got this, that. I've got the other. And it's like, no,
I got the job now. See ya.
Yeah, I've got the job now. See you later. Ta-da. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. What do you think about the growth of Islam in the UK?
Mate, it's gone rife.
Yeah.
Rife. It's gone through the roof, mate. Yeah, literally. And, people that watch this and think, "Oh, look, another Islamophobe." Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not an Islamophobe at all. I just don't agree with the ideology. I'm sorry, but it's do you know what I mean? I don't agree with your prophet.
It's not compatible with Western ideology at all. It's not compatible.
It's not at all. It's not at all. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not religious, mate. I'm not religious. I've never been religious in my life. Maybe one day I'll look into it or something. Maybe, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I just think to myself, well, isn't the UK a Christian country? Isn't the UK a Christian country? And I think to myself, let's have it right. The UK is a Christian country, right? But then, how comes we've had such a huge infiltration into all sectors, education system, politics,
law enforcement,
yeah,
immigration enforcement,
yeah, all the government sectors, the education, do you know what I mean, everywhere, right?
Well, Sadiq Khan's a big part of that too, especially in the London area.
You had an MP, right? I need to get this geezer's name up, but there was an MP that was stood up in Parliament. This is the world we live in, right, in the UK. Standing up in Parliament, right, a Muslim MP, and he was trying to defend first cousin marriages.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that when it happened.
Sorry, what?
I can't remember the guy's name right offhand, but I remember it when it happened.
So basically, they're basically, he's like, you've got an MP standing up in Parliament and he's trying to defend, like, he wants, like, cousins to marry each other.
Well, if you look at the rate of syndrome and birth defects in the Pakistani community, you'll see that's why, because they still marry their cousins and they're fine with it.
So he wants to promote. He's trying to defend incest.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's just not copacetic with Western culture, man.
Not at all. Not at all, mate.
No. So where are you going from here, man? With your X page, what do you want to see happen?
Mate, do you know what? I just like coming on there and I like talking to people. I like talking to people that are on the same political side of the fence as me. Not I'm not saying that I only just like listening to people that are on the same political wavelength as me. I do love hearing differences of opinion, because I love hearing a good debate. Do you know what I mean? because you're never going to learn nothing. I've always said it. I had problems in the past. I had problems when I first started the spaces. I used to have people come on and say, "Oh, why are you having him on for? Like, you know what I mean? He's racist, this, that, and the other." And I'm like, look, if you're trawling through their page and you're finding, content that's whatever, then okay, whatever. But I'm just hosting the space. So until that person acts untoward or gets racial or personally attacks someone on the space, then until then crack on. If they then start dishing out that shit in the space, then I'll deal with it and I'll get rid. See you later. I'm not tolerating that.
You can only deal with what you can deal with, man. You can't go on everyone's page
you can't have an echo. You can't have an echo chamber, Doc.
That's right. That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you. I got to get running here, but man, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been an interesting conversation. I've loved having you on, and hopefully I'll get invited back on one of your spaces sometimes.
It's always a pleasure. Always love having you on. Can I also just say as well, a big shout out to my team that I literally put the graft in, because I'm not sitting on this interview and saying things. I've had a lot of help from my team, and that is Michael, Vicky, Martin, Karen, Edward, Nick, Truth, Kev, Dave, Vicky. They've all been absolutely amazing. Sandy. They've all been absolutely amazing. They've helped me because, like I say, mate, when I'm running my spaces from 8:30 in the morning till 5, and I'm working up my crane, I can't, be on my space all the time, because I can't be doing it while I'm operating heavy machinery, and I only get involved when I'm on my breaks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see.
So I'll leave my phone in the background, and I have my co-hosts, which will be either Martin or Michael or Sandy or Karen, co-hosting space, and they run the space all day long. So they are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. And I just want to say a big thank you to them, because without my team, the space wouldn't have progressed this far. So I've always got, I'd never take credit for all their hard work, man, because they've helped me out so much of it. And just one more thing, I love doing these spaces because, like I said, I enjoy speaking to people, but you don't understand the amount of messages I get, mate, from ex-veterans and that, saying how much they tune in, because it's like a new radio to them, and it's like, Sean, and I get messages like saying, Sean, you don't know how much this space does for my mental health, mate. Just coming on here and getting involved in such a lovely community, and it feels good, mate. And do you know what I mean? And it's like, I just love helping people, mate.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, and like I say, I love having everyone on from all walks of life. I'll absolutely have anyone on, because I love the debate. And like I say, yeah, the Uncensored Patriots one was from Monday to Friday. Sorry, I'm new to this. I'm just remembering to say this.
Sorry. Yeah, because I said Monday. I thought it was Monday to Thursday. So it's Monday to Friday.
No.
And what's your handle? What's your ex handle?
My ex handle is Seany Boy 89. So that's SEANY BOYY and then 89. And that'll come up.
And that's where your spaces are, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this, but that's my that's my page. So there's my page, and it's like I say, it's crazy, mate. I never thought I'd be talking to the likes of you, to the likes of so many other people, but it's not just.
I never thought I'd be talking to the likes of you 2 years ago. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
I had no intention of getting involved with Tommy Robbins. I just wanted to meet the guy. I got fully immersed in this whole thing, and I just fell in love with the whole movement, man. It was really. Oh God, I can't tell you how just crazy it is for me.
With you and Tommy Robinson?
Well, Tommy and the whole movement. I had no idea. I was going to go to London just on holiday, and I wanted to meet Tommy because I'd followed him for a few years, and he was going to do an interview. I was going to interview him. He was going to give me like an hour interview, and the next day he called and said, can't do it, Don. I've got some trouble in Scotland. I've got to go help this family. It was Chris Donald's family in Scotland. And she said, I tell you what, why don't you just come with me for a week and you do a week with Tommy Robbins? So I went we did a whole tour with the guy for like a week. And then he's invited me to come back and speak at all his rallies. So I've been in the last year, I've been to the UK 7 times, I think.
Nice.
7 times. And man, I've just had such a blast, and just the people are just amazing. And I just fell in love with the whole thing, dude. So now I'm like a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're in Texas, aren't you? Because I've got American family that live in Dallas.
Yeah, well, now I've been in Tennessee, Texas, Georgia. I kind of move around, man. So I do a lot of traveling. So I've been all those places. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that's it. Yeah, it's been great having you on, man. Come back anytime, and we'll do it again sometime.
Hopefully, I'll be a bit more less jittery and a bit more.
I didn't think I think you did fine, man. I think you did good.
But yeah,
right.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate, and thank you for having me on, Don. And yeah,
absolutely. Right. Take care of yourself, and thank you all for watching. I'm Don Keith, and this has been The Real Beef.
Cheers, mate.
The Real Beef.